right, we're recording.
Okay, so first one, lumbar, we could evaluate ranges of motion. So flexion, just going forward, extension going back. We could do right and left lateral bending, maybe rotation, just to see what they're restricted doing. So keep that in mind. We can also test the lumbosacral nerve roots for irritation. Again, that's by stretching the sciatic nerve, which is L4 to S4. So if Rachel came in and she was having low back pain and pain down her right side, I could do the unilateral straight leg raise test, also known as Lasag's, and I would do it on the leg she was having symptoms. So with this test, I'm going to raise her leg up. We're stretching those nerve roots, and they're going to be pretty solidly stretched by about 45 degrees to definitely about 70 degrees. And the patient at this point would be saying, stop. That's painful. I'd be looking at Rachel. I would be seeing her grimacing. And then I could lower it. She's pain-free again. And to further challenge it, kind of a follow-up, I'm going to dorsiflex her foot and then have her try and touch her chin to her chest. Oh, maybe that irritates her. We're stretching that whole thecal sac, which becomes the nerve root sleeves. So that's another way to kind of, a different way to challenge it to confirm also maybe a nerve root irritation, L4 to S4. With that too, if she was having right-sided symptoms, I could also do the well leg raise test, which could indicate a larger disc herniation, a broad-based central disc herniation. So when I raise her good leg, her well leg, we may get symptoms reproduced in her bad leg, her right leg. So she has right leg symptoms, low back pain. I'm raising her well leg, and eventually that nerve gets tugged against her disc. As I'm stretching these nerves, it's stretched into the irritated disc, and maybe this is irritating actually her right leg. So kind of the reverse of Lasag's, but still indicative of a right herniated disc irritating her right leg. Okay, some other tests we could do. Let me show you one other one. Rachel, why don't I have you sit up and just face the camera here. Another way to do Lasag's that I do frequently in the office is while I'm testing reflexes, I will just raise her right leg. And that's kind of the same position that Lasag's was in when she was laying down, right? The unilateral straight leg raise. So if this is irritating, we may see Rachel kind of crab crawl backwards. She's trying to keep her back straight as I raise her leg. She's like, I feel great, but she's protecting her back from being in more of that 90-degree stretched position. So as I was doing that, you might see the patient do that, or she would say, hey, I'm getting pain in my back or SI joint, or maybe reproducing pain down my leg. So I like to do it sitting just because I've kind of already had her sitting with reflexes and dermatomes and stuff like that. You could do that option. So our next test, Rachel, why don't I have you come sit here at the very end and just plant your buttocks there, and then I can help you lay back. I'll make sure this table does not fall. You can grab your, why don't you grab your right knee and then just lay back here. Good. So we want her right at the edge. We don't want that back of her hamstring catching on the table. She looks really good. And so we're just evaluating to see if she has a tight iliopsoas, that primary hip flexor. If she did, we might see that her leg is flexed or is it horizontal, but she has the ability, even in these genes, to go into extension, and that indicates she's got a nice relaxed iliopsoas. We could also look at the quad right here. So if she had a really tight quad, we might expect it to be more like 45 degrees up to even like 90 degrees if she had a really tight quad. She looks really good. Some are going vertical or maybe out to 45 degrees. She looks like she's maybe 20 degrees of, off the plumb line right there. So she's looking good. I don't think her quad is tight. I don't think her iliopsoas is tight. And those can be, especially the iliopsoas, a source of low back pain. Thanks, Rachel. I'll set you up. And then here, why don't you go face, actually, why don't you lay back down and just scoot down. Sorry about that. So this is the sacral shear test. And there's 3 versions of it. This is one we're finding the ASIS, those big bumps in the front. I'm just putting my piezoform contact right in there, and then I'm pushing laterally. We're shearing the SI joints. Does that feel better, worse, about the same?
Feels good.
Feels good. Nice. And then here, once you face the audience here, on this version of the sacral shear, I can just contact the iliac crest, find it, and I'm pushing right below the top of the iliac crest. I don't want to be pushing over the greater trochanter because we're not going to get motion. And then I'm going to be pushing down, and we're getting a lot of motion and winging. Does that feel better, worse, about the same?
Better.
Better. She likes it. All right. And then last one, once you go face down here. And this one is kind of the last version of that sacral shearing. We have the PSISs, and they come down to the apex. We're going to want to contact somewhere closer down here towards the apex of the sacrum. I'm going to contact, And I'm going to add downward pressure. Does that feel better, worse, about the same?
Better.
Better. Nice. Good. And then our last test here today, or second last, why don't you stand up here for me? Trendelenburg's. We're going to see if she can stand on one leg. So we're going to see if she can balance on her left leg. Can you raise your right knee towards the ceiling? And that shows that she's got a good, strong glute medius firing, and she can maintain her balance. There we go. Trendelenburg's. And then the other sacral test was Gillette's. Why don't I have you face that direction for me? So we're going to find the PSIS's, and those are just two dimples that we're going to feel in the low back. If you can't see them, you can definitely feel them, but we're going to find those. Hers are harder to find than Rob's. Some people have a little bit more subtle PSIS's there. So we've got two PSIS's, and they should look pretty even. Ira, what do you think?
Pretty close.
Pretty close. Now we're going to do the other component of it where we're going to have Rachel raise her right leg towards the ceiling. And we should feel that right thumb drop back. Good. And let it down. I shifted my left thumb here to her S2 tubercle. And then I'm going to go back and do the same thing on her left side. Can you raise your left knee towards the ceiling? And you see that thumb dropping back just a little bit subtly and then drop it down. Good. And that showed that her hemipelvises both moved when she raised her hips. They both moved a little bit. If they were fixated, that could be a cause of pain. If she was having fixation and that joint wasn't moving well, we might see that, and then she might be complaining of pain, potentially on either side, the fixated or the hypermobile side too. And done.